Are you considering Montessori school for your child and you're not sure if it's the right fit? Or have you heard of Montessori from friends and family, but you're not sure what it's all about? Well, I'm here for you. I'm Sarah Moudry from Family Friendly Home. Today, I want to share some information that will help inform your decision on choosing Montessori education. In order to choose Montessori, I think it's important to understand some Montessori philosophy and what makes it different from conventional education. Many parents who did not attend Montessori school as a child think of school as a child sitting at a desk, listening to a teacher at the front of the class as she's writing on a chalkboard. And that's just not what you're going to see in a Montessori school. Montessori schools are reality-based, child-centered, responsive educational environments that allow for choice and independence for the students they serve. Now, what does all this mean? I'm going to go through it step by step. First, reality-based means the hands-on experience with real activities is valued. So this means that your child will learn how to bake cookies rather than pretending in a play kitchen. It's often misinterpreted that Montessori schools don't support imagination and creativity, and that just isn't true. Montessori schools are designed to present the right activities at just the right time for your child's development. Now, children before the age of 6 are hungry for real experience. They want to know how to do things and what is real and concrete in front of them. Where children 6 and older build on that grounding of knowledge, and then they springboard into some of the most creative and imaginative writing and expression I've ever seen. Okay, child-centered. Now, this means you will rarely find a Montessori teacher, often referred to as a guide, standing in front of the class teaching just one lesson. That teacher will instead give individual and small group lessons throughout the day that are specifically chosen for that one child or small group of children. The Montessori teacher is always observing children in their development of skills, ability to challenge themselves, and their individual pace. In Montessori school, the lessons your child receives and when are chosen for your child. The teacher knows the full curriculum and the time it will take for your child to move through those lessons and be ready for each new step. Montessori schools are responsive. As I was saying before, the Montessori teacher will observe to see what your child needs next, and then will respond with a lesson. Observe and respond, observe and respond. Now, this doesn't mean that your child will be getting a new lesson every day. This means the teacher will give a lesson and watch and interact and follow up as needed to help your child deep dive into his work, to develop concentration, to learn to ask why, and to follow his own natural passion to learn and discover. Now, Montessori schools offer choice. Understanding that children feel empowered and more engaged in their work when they choose it, a Montessori classroom is designed to offer many choices. The choices are determined by your child's skills and the previous lessons that they've had. A child in a Montessori school can choose the schedule of their day from the moment they walk in the morning. This allows them to be masters of their time and free to work on an activity as long as they like. There are no changes in classrooms or interruptions to their work cycle. For children younger than 3, there is a 2-hour work cycle, and for 3 and older, there is a 3-hour work cycle. Activities your child may do in that time include baking or math or language, science, gardening, cleaning, sensorial, art, music. They may even choose to take a break and watch someone else work or read a book in the library. All is considered worthwhile work when the child chooses it freely. So last, but certainly not least, Montessori schools support a child's independence. When children are physically independent, they are freed up to become intellectually independent. This means when a child doesn't need to find an adult to tie their shoes, they are free to put their shoes on and go explore in the gardens and start their scientific inquiry without waiting for the adult. Now, obviously, children are always supervised, but the point is they don't have to wait for an adult to start their work. So you may be asking, isn't waiting a valuable skill? And yes, you're right. But what's so genius about Montessori classrooms is the environments are designed for that to all happen naturally. For example, If a child wants to work with the number rods and has previously had that presentation, he's free to choose it. He has all the skills he needs. However, if someone else has already chosen to work with the number rods, the child will have to wait until they are available. So the child will have a couple of choices. Remember, I said Montessori school is all about choice. The child can observe the child with the number rods until they're done, or the child can ask to work with the child with the number rods, or thirdly, he can choose to work on something else until those number rods are available. See, it's all built in, and this is just the reason those environments have one of each activity. And all of this inspires independence and self-regulation, the development of the will, the development of the intellect and the memory, social skills, and self-confidence. Amazing, right? Well, you may be thinking, this all sounds great. Let's find a Montessori school. Or you may be thinking, that all sounds well and good, but it doesn't seem like my kid. And I say to you, that may not be what you observe of your child in this moment in your home, but remember, Montessori schools are carefully designed environments to inspire just this sort of activity from children. They're designed for social connection and intellectual growth. They're created to offer freedom within limits in order to develop self-regulation and inner discipline. And a good Montessori teacher is trained to explain all these steps in parent education nights and communications. So these are just some of the details about what makes a Montessori school. But I want to end this video on one thing I haven't mentioned yet, and that is that Montessori schools are concerned with raising a generation of learners, to keep the spark and desire to learn present, and to keep your child actively engaged in their education. By helping children to see their own potential and think outside the box, Montessori schools are working to inspire community-minded thinkers that are striving to answer questions. And when they grow up and go out into the community, they ask, how do we cure that disease? What's next in space? Or how do we feed communities that are food insecure? Now, if you're ready to look for a Montessori school, watch my video, 8 questions to consider when choosing a Montessori school, and visit my site for some resources for finding schools. If you have more questions like, is Montessori for my child? I have an FAQ section on my website that you may find helpful. If this video was helpful, give it a like so other parents know. And subscribe so you can keep getting information about Montessori. Thanks for listening and good luck in your decision making.